All right, welcome to One Nation of Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. I'm your host, Kirk DeMars, and today is Monday, November the 13th. I almost said 20th. I would have been a week ahead, but you know what? Once we've sprung forward with the time, it seems like everything's just moving forward at a fast pace. So, speaking of a fast pace, we have on the show tonight, we've got a student athlete that just doesn't stop. She just keeps going. And we're going to be talking tonight to Riley Blevins from North Callaway. And with the Lady Thunderbirds and volleyball, she's getting started with basketball. Just a lot of stuff going all the time with this senior. And we did her photo shoot and interview for the September October issue. And you can see those cool pictures right there. We were talking about how we were thankful that we weren't going to have to stand across the net and have her spike the ball down into our face and cause us extreme pain. But we had a great interview, and one of the things that you'll find out when we talk to Riley tonight is that she's just a great young lady and she's got a bright future ahead of her. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Riley. Hey Riley, how
Hi,
you doing?
good. How are you?
I am doing good. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to be able to see what's going on with you and maybe find out a little bit of your plans for the future, but we'll get to that a little bit later. S- So you've been keeping pretty busy, haven't you?
Yes, very busy.
Okay.
Basketball just started, first 2 weeks of practice, school, lots going on.
Yeah. Just and add into that life in general, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Riley, why don't you tell us a little bit? We named your article "Trust the Process." Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that's looked like for you and how you've learned to deal with the pressure and being able to play within yourself?
Yeah, so I've had to learn a lot about the process from playing varsity as a freshman. When I was younger, I always thought scoring was the biggest part of sports, and performing the best is the biggest part of it. But once I learned to just try my best and just work hard and really just play within myself and do the things that I can control, I've
Hmm.
honestly performed better than I ever have. So that's been a huge part of me as an athlete, is just learning how to do everything I can do and everything I can control, and then the good performance comes after that.
Well, that is absolutely right. And one of the other things is that you talked about being coachable in your article. What's that meant to you, and how has it helped you to reach your personal and team goals?
Yeah. So I've never been like the tallest or the strongest or more athletic person on the court, but I've always been someone that is going to listen to everything you tell me, and I'm just going to be a sponge, and I'm going to be the most coachable person out there, and I'm going to do everything my coaches ask me to do. And that's honestly probably made me the player I am today, is just learning to do whatever they ask me to do.
Hmm. And as a senior this year, now you were talking about there were three of you on volleyball, and you said there's four of you that are on in basketball. So as those senior leadership, you have a little bit of a responsibility. How do you get your underclassmen to be able to buy into being coachable and trusting the process?
I think encouraging them a lot and giving them the confidence they need, but also reminding them that the coaches are there for you. They're not against you. They want to do everything in their power to make them better. So I think letting them know at a young age that being coachable is going to get them the furthest, I think that is a big part of them being the best they can be.
And I know you've had some good coaches, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. I also want to encourage anybody that's watching the program tonight, if you have any comments or questions that you want to jump in and ask Riley, or just share some comments about how awesome she is, I know that she'll appreciate that, and we'll put that on there too. Um, Riley, part of being coachable, that started with your parents, and I know that they've played a big role in your life and your development. Tell us what you've learned from the time your dad coached you and applied the characteristics that your parents shared with you.
Yeah. So both my parents played Division 1 sports, so they have a lot of knowledge about it and they've been through it. So I think playing for my dad from such a young age, he just honestly like knowing that he has the best intentions for me. I've just learned so much and he's pushed me so much, and I've known it's coming from a good place. And so just them teaching me like their experiences and just being there for me and pushing me has honestly made me better.
Okay. So this was not in the questions I sent you, but why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about your mom and dad and what sports did they play in college?
Yeah, so my dad played Division I football, my mom played Division I softball, and they made a basketball player and a volleyball player. I don't really know how that works, but yeah, they both were extremely into sports, and I think just growing up around that all of me and my siblings just immediately just fell in love with it like they did, and they've just coached us through and taught us a lot of things.
Okay, we'll get to your siblings here in a little while too, but I am sure that your household was not competitive at all.
Oh no, not not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, we are extremely competitive and
All right. Do you
and
guys, I mean, does that transfer over into like board games and,
oh,
just
everything,
first
everything you
one
can.
through the door?
Yeah, first one to the car, everything has been a competition.
All right. That's awesome. Very good. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Coach Klein? You shared that he's always challenging you and pushes you to be better. How does he do that with both volleyball and basketball?
Yeah, so volleyball, me and him both kind of started at the same time. He started coaching his first year and first time really around volleyball, but that year was also my first year ever playing volleyball too. So I think in that way we kind of pushed each other to learn the sport, and we kind of it was like a learning process together to get better at it. Where in basketball, he knows a lot about basketball, and I've been raised around basketball, so I
Mhm.
that's very different. That's we kind of compete, and he pushed me to be better, and we know a lot about it. But volleyball was a very learning process for both of us.
Okay, very good. So, that's kind of a unique thing that you're sharing there is that both of you were learning at the same time on that. Um, did that maybe help you guys with a little bit more of an understanding of what it takes to be a coach and how much time that they put into it and continuing to try to improve themselves?
For sure. Yeah, you learn a lot about how much time they put in and the sacrifices they make for you and stuff, and just makes you respect them more and listen to more what they have to say and everything.
Okay. What do you most appreciate about him?
I appreciate the most about how caring he is. He's always there and he always wants you to be the best person you can be. And when he gets on to you, you know it's coming for a spot that he really wants you to be the best that you can be. So, regardless of the mistakes you make and all that stuff, you're never scared to disappoint him because you know that he wants the best for you.
Okay. Um, so is there a particular something that he just like tries to drive home to you guys all the time? I mean, is there something like if you guys have heard it one time, you've heard it 1,000 times?
I think being a good teammate is probably the number one thing that we've all learned the most from him. You can make a million mistakes, but if you're a good teammate and high five each other and are positive, that's all he really wants from any of us.
Oh, good. You are just giving me more and more questions to ask. I love this because I want to be able to even talk about how do you transition being a good teammate to being a good classmate? How do you do that?
Yeah, so North Callaway is very small, so the people you play sports with are the people you have classes with, and I think us being so close, like on the court and stuff, is just made us even closer as friends and as classmates, and just helping each other out both at school and on the court. I think has made us all a lot closer and a lot better people.
Good. All right. So let's go ahead and hear about were your highlights playing volleyball at North Callaway.
I think the biggest highlight for me was my first year, my sophomore year at North Cali. We won 3 games, I think, and then, or my last year, this year we won 15. So just being a part of something that was, starting very, not the best, and how far we've come is just it's amazing.
Yeah, that's what's been probably the game that stands out the most or the match that stands out the most to you as far as it just doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. My junior year, we had a home game versus Wright City, and that was the first game that we ever went to 5 sets. And coming from a program that hasn't always been the best and just playing in such a competitive game when you're like, wow, like we really are good. And we ended up winning that game too. And it was just the first game I think all of us were like, wow, like we can do this, and we just beat a really good team in 5 sets, and we're actually a very good volleyball team.
Well, that's good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your teammates and just some of the different things that you've appreciated about them as far as their support and just their friendships?
Yeah. So all of us are pretty much different athletes. Like we all play basketball, and all of our first years of volleyball were at the same exact time. So I think we all have been just such good friends and stuff because we've been through the same thing, from learning a brand new sport and playing on a team that has won 2 games in the past. I think that's just made us so close to just realizing how much we love the game and how much we love playing together, and that's
Hmm.
really just made us all super close.
Good. Do you played club volleyball? Did you do that?
No.
No.
I always played competitive basketball. My
Okay.
first year, I played front row only at my Mexico my freshman year, and then my
Uh-huh.
sophomore year I started playing back row. But I've only ever played school volleyball.
Okay. All right. I was just thinking that's just one more thing that you could add to your list of tons of things to do. So I didn't know if you did that or not. I know that that involves a lot of extra time and takes up a lot of
Yeah,
travel and expenses and all that kind of stuff. So, um, you know what? We flew through this first part, so I will dig into even some more questions in the second half. And again, I just want to remind those that are watching, feel free to make any comments. And again, if you have any questions for Riley, feel free to do that. Riley is an outstanding young lady. We're going to get into a few more details in the next half as far as personal and team accomplishments, and then we'll ask. I told her we're going to have a speed round where we're going to ask some questions. She has no idea. We're going to ask her a few questions, just a few fun things to find out a little bit more about her. So, thank you. And we are going to be right back after this short commercial break.
Services has been connecting employees with employers since 1977. Recently, CNS rebranded to CNS Employment Solutions to more clearly define their mission of serving the needs of applicants, employees, and businesses while remaining current and evolving with the changes in the workforce. One important thing has not changed. CNS Employment Solutions partners with a wide variety of employers, placing employees in jobs that match their skills and needs.
Say yes to CNS.
CNS Employment Solutions, I can't say enough about them. Every one of these programs that we have had on Sports Locker, One Nation, a Sports Locker Magazine Extra, they have been here from the beginning, and I appreciate everything that they do. They do an outstanding job in our community, not just finding jobs for people that need a job, not just helping employers find those qualified employees, but they are also involved in our community, and they just are an outstanding group of people, and I appreciate Paula and her whole team over there. So if you ever need anybody to, or you know somebody that needs a job, or you need a job yourself, feel free to reach out to them at CNS Employment Solutions. They'll make sure that you get what you need. And also, I wanted to just quickly share, we were talking with Riley a little bit about her coach and how amazing that he's been. Coach Klein has just been a good role model. And we talked about the time that they put in as far as coaches. And one of the sponsors that we have is Big Whiskey's here in Jefferson City, and they sponsor each issue, a coach of the issue. And it's just a good way to be able to give recognition to those people that put in all of that time and all of that work. And sometimes that goes unnoticed. People pay more attention to what's happening with the players and the student athletes, and sometimes they forget the man or the woman that is putting in all of that extra time, being away from their families. And so we just want to give a shout out to Big Whiskies for making sure that we recognize our coaches. We have been having a great interview with Riley Blevins of North Callaway, the Lady Thunderbirds, and we've talked about some volleyball. We're going to talk about some other things here in just a moment, but hopefully you've enjoyed hearing from Riley, and she's a neat young lady, and it's been an honor to be able to do your article and have you in the magazine as well as get to talk to you tonight. So thanks for coming on again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you did not hang up and leave, so apparently this has been okay. So that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about your individual accomplishments, Riley? You've received quite a few in volleyball. Why don't you share with us about that? What has it meant to you being all conference, all district, and any of the other things that you've been named for?
Yeah. I've been 3-time all conference and 2-time all district, and I think they just really like showed me that I actually like am kind of good at the sport. Like sophomore year was my first year ever really playing back row, and I was very scared and very timid, and just getting all conference for the first time, I told Coach Klein, I was like, wow, like I can actually do this. Like I played basketball. I've never even thought about volleyball. And it was the first time I was just like, wow, like this is something that I could do. So I think it
Yeah,
showed me I can maybe play with some good girls.
yeah. You mentioned you've mentioned this a couple times. You talk about back row, front row. Why don't you explain to people the difference and why you enjoy those positions?
Yeah, so my freshman year at Mexico, I was one of the tallest girls, and I've never played before. So of course, they put the tall girls in the front row. So I played middle my whole freshman year, and I was not allowed in the back row. I was front row only. And I enjoyed it, but it just didn't feel right. Like I felt like out of water and stuff like that. And then my sophomore year, I played back row and I was kind of a setter, and that honestly I loved that position because I got to move around a lot on the court. It was a
Hmm.
lot like basketball, just go be athletic and stuff. And then after that, I turned into a libero where I was just in the back row, and I loved libero the most. It was just very much that I get to go be athletic and just go try hard and stuff like that, and that's what I've always been used to.
Yeah. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about libero and what that position is and how important it is on the volleyball court?
Yeah, so libero's the person in the other color jersey, and you're not allowed to cross the 10-foot line. And that position is usually your best passer or the person you want passing. It's kind of like center field and softball and stuff like that. So it's honestly just a spot where you just go try your best and go try to get every ball that you can get.
Hmm. Yeah, you got a lot of people moving around when the ball's heading in a direction. I mean, any moments where you've had collisions?
A lot of moments, a lot of space, but it teaches you. You learn from it. But
Yeah,
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 you
yeah.
you learn from it after you get one off the forehead.
I can honestly say, obviously my forehead goes back a little bit further, but um, when when I hit my head and I have no hair for padding, you learn pretty quick from stuff like that. It doesn't feel real good. Oh, why don't you tell us a little bit more about any other accomplishments that you've reached in volleyball and tell us about your goal in reaching the career and single season records for aces and also about the dig record. Why don't you tell us how you did with all that?
Yeah, so I have the most aces in a game. I have 13. And then I broke the single match dig record this year. The original one was 32, and I ended up with 44. And then
Yay.
I broke the season dig record. It was around 320, and I ended up with around 420. And then I also broke the career record. We
Very
haven't
good.
exactly got those exact numbers yet, but I broke it pretty good.
Very good. Well, great job. I know that was in your article. We talked a little bit about some of that, and so congratulations. Glad you were able to do that. That's awesome. Uh, Now let's talk a little bit. We're going to shift here a little bit. Let's go to basketball. We're going to change sports. Two entirely different types of sports, but we're going to talk about those. You are on pace for 1,000 career points. How are you preparing yourself to accomplish that?
I honestly try not to think about it. I think I play the best basketball when I just go out there and just play the best that I can, and that's usually when the big scoring games come. Is when I just
Hmm.
focus on other things and points come after that. So I think I'm just gonna go in and just play how I can play, and whatever happens happens.
And that's a very important thing because we talked about that a little bit. Your teammates being involved and not feeling like it's just the Riley show.
Yeah,
How important is that to you to make sure that you get everybody involved?
yeah. It's also been very important to me. I've always been a point guard, so my job is to get other people the ball, and I love getting assists just as much as I love getting points.
Hmm.
So I've always loved being a point guard. I've always loved distributing the ball and getting other people involved. So that's very important to me. And we have a lot of young posts this year, so that's going to be fun being able to
Hmm.
play with a lot of athletic girls that can do a lot with the ball.
Yeah. You talked about you guys were going to be fast. So why don't you just describe that a little bit?
Yeah. So I think our tallest girl is around 5'8",
Okay.
and that's not very big. So we all are pretty much all guards, and we're all very fast, very athletic. So I think the goal this year is to speed other teams up and play good defense, and hopefully that contributes over to offense, and hopefully we
Hmm.
win a lot of games.
Okay. Did you just say beat other teams up? Did you just say that? Or
No,
speed them up? Okay.
speed up. No, I
I was
couldn't
like,
do it.
okay, the gauntlet is being thrown down. Watch out. Don't get on the court. But no, that's good. Yes, speed that's much nicer, but it is definitely something that you're going to be able to get out on the court and rev things up a little bit. So sorry, I just didn't quite hear it right. Maybe your coach might want you to get a little bit, more physical. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Tell us about how different it is in your preparation for training with volleyball to basketball.
Yeah, basketball is a lot more running, so that's been first fun week is a lot of running and a lot of getting used to banging around with people. Where more in volleyball, it's kind of everyone has their own lane. Or basketball, you run up and down, and it's a very physical game. I would definitely say the physical part is something you have to get used to the first couple of weeks.
Hmm. Okay.
Hmm.
So you were talking about you guys are getting ready to have your jamboree. Did you say tomorrow night? Okay. And then your first basketball game is how
Not
far off?
till Thanksgiving.
Okay. All right. That's coming up pretty quickly. I'm sure you've got restrictions as far as what you're going to be able to eat for Thanksgiving and all that, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Okay. Yeah. Just enjoy. Just enjoy.
Yeah,
Coach will make you run again.
yeah, those are always the funnest practices are the ones after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That's good. Riley, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your parents and individually, what characteristics have you really gained from each one of them individually, and what do you appreciate about each of them?
Yeah. So I'm a lot like my mom. We're the same size. We both love working hard and stuff. So I've learned a lot from her. Is just like dedication and working hard, and you
Hmm.
get what you put in. As a lot as what she's taught me when I was younger. You the work hardest out there, you're gonna get the most out of it. And my dad has installed a lot of confidence. He's pushed me to believe in myself and honestly just trust yourself while you're out there. Has been the biggest thing that he's taught me is you never know until you do it. So
Okay. Well, that's good. You've got two different people that are pouring into you. Both of them, again, have been very competitive, played on a higher level, and so I'm sure you've been able to draw from both of them as far as the experiences that they've had. So, hey, we've got our friend Patty Barnhart McFeeters is joining us. Patty is just like that faithful person that shows up as much as she can every week, and she's supportive of this program, and I just appreciate Patty joining us. So, thanks, Patty. All right. We got a few more questions here, and then we're going to jump on into the speed round. But we've got to talk about your siblings. You have siblings too. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them and how important they are to you?
yes, I have an older sister. She's a senior. She played softball 1 year at Truman State, and then I also have an older brother. He's a sophomore. He has always played basketball his whole life. Played a little bit of football, and then I have a younger brother. He's a freshman this year. They've been very different. My older sister is probably my biggest supporter there is. She's been at every single game I've ever had, every practice. Just someone that's always been there for me. Has pushed me
Hmm.
a lot. And my older brother, he's really good at basketball, and that's probably the number one reason I'm the athlete that I am. I've grown up watching him. I've grown up playing against him, always
Hmm.
playing with the boys and stuff. So I appreciate everything he's done, and he's super smart and a great coach, and he's really just taught me a lot about the game.
Yeah.
And then my
Good.
brother, he's yeah, he's something. I he's one of my best friends, and we're super competitive and like to beat each other at things. And growing up, also being able to coach him has taught me a lot about the game too. Coaching and learning is two very different things. So being able to coach him up through some things has taught me a lot about playing as well.
Yeah, so when you guys get together, okay, we're going to move back to Thanksgiving. You guys are together on Thanksgiving holiday. What do you all try to do? What do you guys do? Do you just hang out or do you get out and compete with one another?
We go play some basketball out in the front yard, or we play board games, card games, all of that. There's definitely a lot of competing around the holidays with each other.
Okay. Who wins?
Me, usually.
Yeah, there. See, there you go. That's that confidence. Yep. And, sometimes that doesn't go over well with the siblings, does it?
It is not.
Yeah.
No.
Mom and dad jump in. Do they play?
They do. They try to stay out of it most of the time, but they'll jump in every once in a while.
You see, that's wisdom. That is wisdom from mom and dad right there. Just we'll let the young ones fight it out, and then we'll just try to
Yeah,
pick up the pieces afterwards. So
pretty much. Yeah.
good. Let's talk about your academics. That's been very important to you as well. You've worked very hard at those. Um, Tell us a little bit about that. And have you decided what you want to do with your future? And have you decided where you're going? So,
Yeah. So I want to study speech pathology. I'm going to major in special education and get my master's in speech pathology, and then I plan on being a speech therapist somewhere. And I
mhm,
also plan on attending William Woods, and I plan on playing volleyball. I'm actually signing tomorrow at school to go
that's
continue
awesome.
playing volleyball there, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, you heard it here first, folks. She's going to William Woods to play volleyball there. So I told her before the program that it's up to her whether she wants to mention it or not. So there you go. Congratulations. You're just going to be right up the road, going to be close to your family. So that's great. I know you're going to have more support, and they're going to appreciate not having to drive so far.
They are, yeah.
Very good. So tell us a little bit why you decided that you wanted to go into that field of study.
Yeah, so I've always loved special education. I've always loved helping people, and I've always loved teaching. And it's just been something that I've just recently started to really love and really like. And I think
Mhm.
that's something I can really impact the most people doing.
And that's important to have people like yourself that have a passion and a desire to not only share your knowledge but also be able to share your time and your love and compassion with the students that you teach. And I know Miss Patty, who's watching. I know that with her kids and grandkids, I know that that's important to her. So it's good to have people out there like you that are getting ready to step into that type of role. So very good. Excited for you. Okay, now we're going to get down to the couple last questions, and we'll do the speed round. Why don't you tell me what you've enjoyed most about attending North Callaway?
Yeah, so North Callaway is a very small community, but everyone is extremely close. And I've just enjoyed being around people that are so close, and we're like a big family. So I've enjoyed being around people and going to school with people and playing sports with people that just support you and just are very close. So I think playing for a team and in front of a community that just cares so much about each other is just it's been very fun.
Yeah, now let's talk about faculty and teachers, and what have you appreciated about them?
Yeah. I'm very close with all my teachers. I've loved every single one of them. And this year my dad's actually the head principal at my high school. So
Oh,
that's
very
been
good.
the hallways every day. So I'm very close with all the faculty and they're all very supportive and come to all the games.
Yeah, that's great. I've got to meet your dad. Very, very neat man. And also another neat man that I absolutely love working with is Kevin O'Neill, the athletic director and coach of football. Just such a great man.
He is.
You're right. Guys have a great faculty out there, and I feel that right even when we come in through the front doors and um, the ladies that are working in the office, just greeting and just how friendly it is. So we absolutely love going out there and doing all that. So all right, well, you made it through this part. Are you ready for the speed round?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna have some fun questions. So we're gonna talk first about my son-in-law Jay, he always wanted to talk about food. So we're gonna ask you right now, After a match or after a basketball game, what is your favorite go-to snack or meal?
Probably just a granola bar and a Gatorade. I don't eat a whole lot after games. Usually have to settle down for a couple hours before I actually eat something.
All right. Now, so yeah, you're not eating much afterwards. Okay. But okay, we're going to get to that other question. We'll do that in here in a minute. I want to real quick say what Tony Grandison said. You're so Riley, you know what that means. If your dad, your school principal, you can't get in trouble. LOL.
I'm not really a troublemaker, but yeah, definitely would not want to get in trouble around
Yeah.
him. That would not be fun.
Thank you, Tony, for throwing that out there real quick. We appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to step into food again. You're getting ready to have Thanksgiving. What is your favorite dish in Thanksgiving?
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Okay. Is it something that your family makes or do you order it out?
Um, my mom makes it sometimes, or
Hmm.
sometimes we order out, but
Okay.
I like ordering out better.
Okay. We won't tell her that, but it's too
It's,
late. It's
it's
too late.
not
It's on the internet now. I'm sorry.
really listening.
Yeah. All right. Um, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would that be, Riley, and why?
Um, Probably Bora Bora. It's just beautiful. The water's
Okay.
so blue.
Okay. I think I remember that was they used that on. I haven't watched this in forever, but they had I think gone to that place during Survivor one time, and yeah, you're right. It does look
It's
absolutely amazing. For me, I'd be happy about being able to see what's out there in the water.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know my son-in-law and my daughter went to visit his mom when she was living out in California, and she was, I think, managing a restaurant out on a not a restaurant, but it was a campground, and she was doing the food out there on that island. And they went scuba diving, and the water was murky, and there
Oh,
was seals swimming around.
that would be scary.
So if there's seals swimming around, you pretty much know that there's got to be sharks in the area. And I'm like, what are you all doing out there? Get out of the water. Your dad said so. Get out of the water. Oh, man. Um, okay, superhero. Who do you most identify with? Marvel character, DC character, or whatever. What are you like when you're on the court?
I think Spider-Man.
Okay,
Very, very. You don't know when it's coming.
okay. Very agile. Might get something pop you upside the head. That's good. You, when you were talking a little bit earlier about your coach, I want to bring it in one more time. What is one of the funniest things that your coach has said?
um, so we were in the tournament, and the year before that, we got the consolation spot, and he said it wrong like 5 times in that after game. He kept saying constellation and it's
Okay.
all. He said it like 4 times in his speech. He was like, "Let's just try not to get constellation again," and he didn't know. We're all laughing, and he's getting so mad. He's like, "This is supposed to be serious," and all this stuff, and he kept saying it wrong. And he finally realized it, and he was just it was so.
That's awesome. And you know what? That's on here now too, so we can remind Coach Klein about that. Just anytime you want to, you just pull it up. Remember this, and it'll be there forever. So, uh, one last question, and if there's anything that you could do over, what would that be and why?
Anything I could do over probably a lot of my freshman year. I was very scared, and I just wish I could go back and just know the things I know now and just play and not worry about all the other stuff.
Okay, I I do have one more. I'm sorry, you keep giving me more stuff to go, but what type of advice would you give to the underclassmen as you're getting ready to head out? What would you want to tell them about their high school career as well as their high school experience?
I just say work hard. I think that's the number one thing that leads to success is just working hard. If you want it more than somebody else.
Okay. And trust the process, right?
Trust the process.
Trust the process. All right. Well, Riley, we've come to the end. You've done an outstanding job. This has been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you coming on with us. I'm going to have you hold on with me here until I close out the program, quickly visit with you afterwards. And again, just appreciate you coming on here tonight.
For having me.
Absolutely. All right. I'll be right with you in just a moment. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight on One Nation at Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. I'm your host, Kirk DeMars, and we had Riley Blevins of the North Callaway Thunderbirds. She was on the program tonight. She did an outstanding job. I'm excited that she is getting ready to have her letter of, she's actually signing with William Woods tomorrow, so that's going to be great. She's going to be playing volleyball there, and you're going to be able to see that young lady continue to take her talents and abilities right here through Mid-Missouri. So very excited about that. Uh, as always, we're on every Monday night at 7 o'clock, and hopefully you enjoyed this interview with Riley, and make sure that you share that with your friends. Thanks so much for joining this week. God bless you, and I will see you next week on One Nation, a Sports Soccer Magazine Extra.